Hey guys, I'm here today to share my thoughts and theories on the sequel for Breath of the Wild. I think I may have caught into something big here, so keep watching to hear about how the game might be connected to the ZONAI tribe. Before I get into that, I'm going to start with the things I'm pretty sure of. For one, let's talk about Ganondorf. Let's not beat around the bush to speculate whether or not this is Ganondorf, because it is. It's Ganondorf. I don't know why that was ever questioned. So, obviously there's something different about him. You know, the fact that he's dead. So what exactly is going on here? I'm pretty certain that Ganondorf's dead form is related to the redead in the Sheikah monks. There are several theories about the redead's existence, but for the most part, just about anyone who's done the research agrees that they are in fact living dead. But even more horrifying is that they were probably creations of the royal family. The redead came about after the Hyrulean Civil War and were either put in the royal tombs to protect the royal family spirits and/or secrets, or the redead were victims of a form of torture for captured enemy soldiers. As I said, there were a ton of different theories that are pretty backed up, so I'll link a few videos that I think are credible, since I can't go over everything in this one video. But anyways, another connection for the redead is that they were probably mummified by the royal family's protectors and servants, the Sheikah clan. This is how it connects to the Sheikah monks. The Sheikah monks are also mummified people, but obviously there's something different about them. They aren't monsters, and still seem to be full of wisdom and peace, unlike the tortured souls of the redead. We know the monks were mummified with the purpose of bestowing Link the spirit orbs per shrine he completed. So to link this back to Ganondorf, no pun intended, his corpse resembles the Sheikah monks and the redead in many ways. For instance, the jewelry they wear. But why would the Sheikah do this? Why mummify the world's biggest threat? Well, it probably wasn't the same group of Sheikah that served the royal family, but perhaps a rebellious group of Sheikah, such as the Yiga clan. The hand that seals Ganondorf also resembles the Sheikah monks, which is another reason I'm leaning towards that theory. Another race that is going to heavily influence this game is the Gerudo. For one, there's the reason that Ganondorf himself is a Gerudo, but also if you look closely at the glowing spiral around Ganondorf's body, the light turns into markings and symbols. Initially I thought these were twilight marks due to the color, but upon closer look, the symbols definitely make up the Gerudo alphabet. It's hard to translate since not many stay in their shape long, but theorists so far have translated portions that have said Ganon and seal, confirming further that the hand on Ganondorf's chest is a seal. Now, here's where things get interesting. It started by me looking at the hand sealing Ganondorf and noticing its resemblance to the Sheikah monks. However, the bracelet it's wearing doesn't resemble any Sheikah jewelry we've seen in the past. In fact, it doesn't resemble any races or tribes' jewelry or style whatsoever. But something still seemed familiar about the style and shape of the bracelet. Then, I finally realized that it looked similar to the keys in Skyward Sword. At first I thought there was no way that it could be connected, but I noticed more. When you look at the cavern Ganondorf is kept in, and the two heroes are exploring, the architecture is clearly made by the ZONAI tribe. If you recall from Breath of the Wild, not much was revealed about this mysterious new tribe, suddenly introduced other than their garbs and the architecture. The ZONAI ruins are decorated with two major repetitive symbols, dragons and spirals. And I began to think, who created the temples in Skyward Sword? It wasn't likely the Hylians, after all, since the race was in the sky for years and years. I figured it maybe was built by the goddesses or the other races. But look at the architecture. There are spirals after spirals all over the place. Coincidence? Maybe. But it's not like it's every once in a while. They're everywhere. Spirals, 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 and look, more spirals. Not just spirals, but there's also dragons, especially boxy-shaped dragons. Even ones on the keys is a dragon. So, this would hint that the ZONAI had something to do with the original temples. How? I'm not sure. Perhaps this tribe existed from the beginning. They're obviously good at disappearing since they were nowhere to be seen in Breath of the Wild. Really, I have no solid answer. But the resemblance cannot be ignored, and it can't just be a coincidence. So if the ZONAI are connected to the temples, and the keys resemble the bracelet, Is the hand maybe not a Sheikah, but a ZONAI? They are known to be both magic users and fierce warriors. But the answer doesn't necessarily have to be one or the other. The Sheikah tribe is known for having rebellious groups among them. Perhaps the ZONAI are actually a tribe of Sheikah warriors, maybe even ones that fought Demise's army when the Hylians were raised in the sky. Some of the other things I thought were interesting and don't necessarily have strict theories on are things like the Twilight Princess vibes, Malice, and certain things with the audio. For starters, there are lots of elements that make Twilight Princess come to mind. The first obvious ones are the colors of the seal. This is like the Twilight signature color. It's on the race's bodies, architectures, and even their portals. In addition, you have the music. The music resembles many Twilight Princess soundtracks, specifically ones to do with the Twilight Realm. Listen to the similarity. There's just that eerie, scrambled, and staticky sound to the music. Others have pointed out that when played backwards, it sounds like the Game Over theme in the original Legend of Zelda, which I tend to agree with. Take a listen. While this may be true, there was really no reason for them to specifically make the audio resemble the Twilight Princess soundtracks. This might be getting my hopes up, but I see a slight connection and hope we learn more about the unique Twilight race. Another piece that makes the trailer hint at Twilight Princess is the way Ganondorf is posed dead, with his mouth open, just like Ganondorf in Twilight Princess. Really though, this might just be creative license. I'm pretty certain that this Ganondorf isn't the same as the one in Twilight Princess. After all, his ornamental jewel on his forehead differs from the one in Twilight Princess. In addition, Twilight Princess Ganondorf had facial hair. Sure, perhaps as a rotting corpse that hair might disappear, but the rest of his hair is preserved and even seems to have grown, which naturally would have happened to his facial hair if he had it like he did in Twilight Princess. But what do I know? It could be him, I guess. I mean, people say that the Twilight Princess Ganondorf is the same as Ocarina of Time, and they have distinct design differences too. So, who knows? Oh, and in case you didn't know, the Twilight are actually descendants of the Sheikah, adding another connection to them to the themes here. There was a group of Sheikah known as the Interlopers who sought dark magic. They were sealed away by the goddesses in the Twilight Realm, where they later adapted and evolved into what we know today as the Twilight. So like I said, all of this hints that the Sheikah tribe could aid to our knowledge of the Twilight as well. Here's another interesting that no one has seemed to notice. We have this long spinal cord in the background here. What for? Maybe it's a boss similar to Stallard in Arbiter's Grounds. It could also be connected to the ZONAI. Maybe it's a dragon spinal cord. Then, of course, we see this rat being overcome by Malice, and it got me wondering, what happens to living beings overcome by Malice? Do they just die? Maybe. But it could also be an infectious thing that causes a being to turn evil. I mean, look at the way it affected robots like the Guardians. They're just robots, and the Malice still made them evil. Then finally, one last interesting thing I noticed was what seemed to be a voice in the background of the audio. It's easier to hear when you slow the audio down, but still extremely difficult to understand what it says. but at one point I thought I heard it say, "Look up." And it was right then that Zelda looked up and saw Ganondorf. So what is this voice? Hard to tell, but maybe the voice of the hand? Maybe not. Once again, really unsure, but it'd be really cool to connect the dots later when we're given more information. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you like my commentary and especially my theory on ZONAI. I can't wait to find out more in the upcoming future since my mind is going left and right with all of these things. That's all, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.